The ocean looked sick when the sun hit it just right. Green, bloated, the waves writhing under the weight of something unseen. Everything above the surface had long since choked under the smog and crush of humanity. But beneath was worse. I'm not supposed to remember what life was like before. Most don't. It's discouraged. They change your name, your record, your thoughts if they can manage it. But some of us still cling to that stubborn light of memory. I was sent down for something stupid. Breath tax evasion. A minor infraction in the old world. Now a capital offense. The air above had become rationed, compressing into pure value. I made the mistake of using an unfiltered rebreather I found in a dead man's locker. I only used it once. That was enough. They came the same night. No trial. No resistance allowed. They numb you with a silver injection behind the ear and drop you in a pressurized pod like so much trash. You wake up 100 miles offshore, 3 miles down, in a place called Aegir's Gate. It isn't a prison in the traditional sense. No bars, no guards, just corridors of reinforced glass and rusted steel, all dimly lit by a failing fluorescence and bioluminescent algae that coat the walls like a skin condition. It's always damp inside. The condensation runs like sweat down the walls, collecting in the corners, pooling around your feet. The hum of the life support system is constant, a low, droning whale song that vibrates in your skull if you sit still too long. They don't tell you how long you're supposed to stay. That's the trick. Time doesn't work right down here. Sunlight never reaches this depth. The only indication of day or night is the flickering of the overhead lights, and even that's unreliable. Sometimes it stays dark for days. The corridors twist and branch in ways that shouldn't be possible. You can walk for hours and end up in the same spot, or sometimes a different one that only looks the same. Some say the place shifts when you're not looking. Others say it's us who change. I shared a berth with a man named Rilke. Thin, middle-aged, eyes like broken glass. He claimed he was a linguist before the collapse, said he could tell the difference between a scream and a prayer, even when both came from the same throat. He talked a lot during our first week together. Then he stopped. I think it began with the tapping. At first, I thought it was a glitch in the structure, expansion and contraction from pressure changes. But it was too rhythmic, too intentional. 3 slow taps, pause, then 3 fast. It came from the walls, sometimes the floor, occasionally the ceiling. Always distant, always moving. Rilke said it was someone trying to signal us. Morse code maybe. But the patterns never made sense. We started marking them down with a shard of plastic on the wall. After a week, the marks resembled nothing human. Then things started to rearrange. Our bunk room would feel wider or narrower. The door would be on the wrong side. I once woke up with my cot facing the wall, the metal moorings embedded where there had been none before. Rilke stopped speaking altogether after he found his boots filled with salt water and black hair that didn't belong to either of us. He left one morning while I slept. No words, no goodbye. Just gone. I tried to track him, followed the main corridor for hours until it opened into a section I'd never seen. It was colder there. The lights flickered faster. I passed empty rooms filled with surgical chairs and cameras, all pointed at nothing. One room had recordings playing on a loop. Garbled voices, screams looped backward, something like a child singing in another language. I found Rilke's badge near an open hatch. His real badge, with his old name. Elias Rilke. Linguistic Analysis Division, Behavioral Correction Wing. They'd sent one of their own down here. That's when I realized no one ever leaves Aegir's gate, not even the staff. I stopped sleeping after that. The dreams were getting too loud. I'd wake up with seawater in my throat, my fingers numb from cold I hadn't felt while unconscious. Things moved in the corners, shapes that didn't make sense. Once, I saw a woman walking upside down along the ceiling, her wet hair trailing like kelp, her eyes fixed on something beyond the corridor's curve. She didn't blink. She didn't make a sound. I tried to report it. There's a communications room, supposedly. You can file requests, complaints, status updates. I followed the map etched into the wall, only to find the path bricked shut with coral and barnacles that hadn't been there the day before. And then came the shadow behind the glass. There's a long stretch of viewing tunnel, maybe 100 feet, where you can see out into the abyss. They say it was meant for psychological decompression, some nonsense about re-establishing a connection with the world outside. But there is no world outside now, just blackness, pressing, endless, hungry black. One morning during a maintenance cycle, I saw it, a shape, massive, just beyond the floodlights. It didn't look like a fish or a whale. It looked like a suggestion of movement, like the ocean itself had decided to breathe and was inhaling slowly. The lights dimmed as it passed. My breath fogged the glass. After that, the banging began. Not tapping, banging, from beneath us, above us. The entire facility vibrated like a tuning fork. People started disappearing, not in the usual way, with a scream and a trail of blood. Just gone. You'd turn a corner and find a shoe still warm, a half-eaten tray of reconstituted protein, steam rising from a shower stall, but no one inside. I stopped trusting the corridors. I marked the ones I used with a piece of red tape I found in the storage lockers, but the marks vanished overnight, every time. I heard voices in the vents, not words, tones, laughter sometimes, childlike, wrong. I saw myself in the mirror one evening during wash-up and didn't recognize the reflection. It blinked when I didn't, smiled when I backed away. Then the emergency override activated 2 weeks ago. No alarms, just a shift, pressure adjustment, light dimming to emergency red, a mechanical voice repeating, "Protocol initiated, internal containment breach. Please remain still." No one knew what that meant. The corridors sealed in segments. Some people got trapped between the gates. I watched the frost creep up on the observation dome as the pressure equalized. I haven't seen another person in 5 days. The lights are flickering permanently now. There's a low hum I can't place, deeper than the life support system. It's almost melodic, familiar. The tapping has returned, but it's no longer random. It matches my heartbeat. I tried writing this down to keep my mind, to remember who I was. I think it's working. I think I'm still. Wait, there it is again, in the glass. I see it, a face pressed against the outside of the viewing panel. Pale, wide-eyed, smiling. My face. But I'm still here, aren't I? A crack just formed in the glass. Small hairline. It's staring at me, mouth moving. Tapping on the glass now. Not a tap, a knock, asking to come in.